The bloody skulls have come along. I think that they are exactly what I was looking for, bloody skulls. The aim for today is going to be to work on the highlights for the skin and the wrappings. Basically trying to avoid putting highlights on the skulls or the bear fur, which already has its highlights, or on the metal, which I'm going to be doing highlights but in a different color. So I'm using raw umber, which is almost black. It's very, very dark, so it certainly will show up and highlight well, but it is, yeah, not black. It's more like your dirt. Oh yeah, wow, that is like straight away rock and roll. How cool is that? That is exactly what you want. A little bit of dirt. And like with the skulls, I painted them the red, right? But with the bones, I specifically left them the white, so they'll not be the, you know, bloody sort of color, but I'll highlight them with this dirt. Now I do plan to do with like the feet and down lower after I've done this dark wash or brush. I'm going to do a bit of green down there as well, like they've picked up some you know, grassy sort of tones. But I'll do that after I've done this. That is exactly what you want. You can kind of see one side versus the other. It just makes it look more lived in the wild, rolling around in the mud. Very happy with how that is looking. I was a little bit worried when I first started that, oh, maybe it's too black, because I didn't want it to look black. But no, you can definitely see on the troll skin, you can tell that it's a brown, just a very dark brown. Some of this low stuff you may not be able to see much of. The other cool thing is that once this is done, I can start attaching the back axe and his other hand and glue them on. Because basically I've just held off attaching them while it is easier to get access to the model. But once this is done, we can put them together. If some areas end up a little bit darker than others, I don't mind at all. Like it, you know, could have sat down in the dirt, for example, so at the back of this, I don't mind if it's quite dark. Because it is representing dirt and wear. Might need a bit more. So I don't want to go over the silver of the bear fur too much. A little bit's fine because it can get dirty too. But for the most part, it's got its texture, so I'm happy to keep it at that. Now, obviously, almost painting the bottom of the feet, because like for obvious reasons. They are going to be very muddy. So I'm happy for the bottom of the feet to be more mud than skin. I just love the way that dry brushing or washing just lifts the model. It just adds texture and age and wear. It adds a story basically to the story that the model is telling. Yeah, some of this you may not be able to see. This is one of my smaller dry brushes, just to give a little bit more control around the skulls is the main area I'm worried about. And where possible you want to go against the grain, like with these wraps. I'm not going along the area the wraps are, I'm going across where the wraps are. Linen wraps, cloth wraps, what are they? Mimicking. So that way you kind of get the top ridges, but you don't get deep into the grooves so much. And with areas like this bubbly sort of skin, you're just trying to go over the top and pick up the top of the bubbles. But you also don't want it to be too uniform. You want it to be uneven and a bit random. Good Lord, I am really loving this. It's coming up better than I even thought it would. If I do say so myself. Which is a good thing, because it's got to sit on my cabinet. You want to be proud of the models that you have and happy with the way they ended up. Model this size does take a fair amount of paint, even when you're not painting it properly. Not sure if you can hear the 3D printer printing away. Working on my next creation, which is going to be a 50th birthday present for a friend. Alright, nearly done. Oh, too light. It's darkens a couple of areas up a bit more than that. I knew these wrappings, these leather sort of wrappings would turn out really well once they had their dry brush, because instead of the smooth skin like the Troll, which is kind of harder, there is so much detail in the wrappings. Alrighty, that is pretty much what we're looking for. Especially the bottom areas I want darker, because he sits in the mud, or on the ground at least. Yep. Now these guys, that side's to the back, so I probably don't need to worry too much about that side. It's mainly just this side. And I'm not going to do the metal, because just like with the Troll's arm, the metal I'm going to do in probably like a gun metal steel sort of colour. But this is bone and sinew, so this one I'll probably just do one side, let it dry, then do the other side, because this is way too clean for a Troll. Yeah. Oh, that just almost makes me giddy. I mean, before, after, before, after. Just a little bit of highlight colour just makes so much of a difference. It is, however, going to be hard to hold. Alright, well anyway, you get the picture. So that is raw umber and highlighting the detail painting. Gotta say, very happy with how that's coming along. So I'll do the metal bits next. Once this is dried, I'll do the other side as well, but I probably won't record that. But yeah, very, very happy with how the Troll is coming along. And once I've done those bits, then I can stick it all together. So going to go with a game colour called Dark Gunmetal, and this is going to be quite dark contrast, hopefully, for the metallic colour of the bronze. How's that going to work? Yes, that is going to work much better than my copper. Definitely going to take some of the bright, shiny new sheen off. It's dark, but it's still metallic. Yay. Okay, well the copper was obviously a misstep, but that is looking good. That is looking worn and used. Once again, you don't want it to be too uniform. You're looking for it to be darker in some areas and lighter in others. Ah, yes. Yes, that is definitely, that's what I want. This is used and abused weaponry, not well maintained, well looked after. And it's a freaking troll, for crying out loud. And yet I don't mind the little bits of copper in parts because it kind of looks rust. It has that rust sort of effect to it. Okay, well, I'm finally happy with how the metal is looking. It makes such a difference. Try not to go on the skin. Yep, that's the sort of contrast you want. here is to do a little bit of green dry brushing, but I'm just going to do it around the feet. So I'm going to contain it into a pretty tight area. But yeah, it's kind of like, and a bright green too, like a grassy sort of green, like he could have been walking through a grassy field and picked up some of that kind of colour, just to add a little bit of tone difference, because there isn't a lot of green to the model. I think it will look reasonably nice. So I'm just going to do the lower parts, even some of the bare skin stuff, but going to press pretty light. Even going to do it on the bare areas, the bare skin, because it's like, well, that stuff has seen a bit of green as well. Just adds a little bit of extra dimension to the story of the troll. If you did it everywhere, it would be too much, and yeah, it would, I don't think, work, but just little bits here and there. And once again, you want to kind of vary how high, some areas higher, some areas lower. Plus it does kind of also work in with the nice theme of the green line through the base, but that's not necessarily what I'm saying narratively, like he got splashed by that, but that could also work. Or maybe there was a big pool of this stuff and he kind of walked through the pool because he's a troll and didn't care. And that's enough of that. And I am actually very happy with how the troll has ended up looking with all his dry brushes to kind of give the bloody skulls and the wear and tear and the dirt. So anyway, now it is time to put him all together. So this one is on the back. Cool, that looks like it won't need any touch-ups. Yeah, I'll do it that way. So this is my trusty Sky Grip 16, which is, from all the glues that I have found, by far the best one for PLA. Okay, usually about 60 seconds is enough. There is a little bit of white from underneath that I can see where it should be cloth, but it's white. Alright, I'll do a little bit of touch up to get rid of that, but yeah, you have to really look to see it. Certainly not a big deal. Just a little bit of light pressure for about 60 seconds is enough to kind of set it, and then full curing probably takes hours, like with most glues. Oh, it's all danger and eye contact stuff, doesn't really say. Ah, there we go, 80% strength, 24 hours. Working time 5 to 6 minutes. Well, I disagree with that with PLA for at least. It may be with other materials, but yeah, after about 60 seconds it is set strong enough. Yep, okay, so that's what he looks like with his axe set. And like I said, there's no gaps or problems from the top. Now I've got his arm. So that's that way. That should be fine. And just a tiny bit of pressure, otherwise it tends to rush out. Okay, hold that in place. There's the arm set well enough on the troll. So yeah, obviously happy with how that's all looking. So I'll leave it to just kind of harden up for a bit, and then I'll take some final photos, like some detailed video and photos, and yeah, that will be the last video of the troll. As always, thank you very much for watching. So this is the finished model. I'm quite happy with how it all turned out and how it looks. He's got his red bloody skulls. And he's got his metal gauntlet, which shows a little bit of rust, a little bit of wear and tear. And at the back he's got his little axe, his handy axe, which he keeps there. So yeah, a little bit of green detail on the feet, like he's been walking through stuff. Oh yes, very, very happy with how the end model has ended up. I mean, I've always liked the design, but yes, it came together very well, I think.